Welcome to Goldfish on Games and Budget Game Reviews. Today's subject of a cheap review is Pipe Mania, a game that's probably more well remembered for being a minigame in other games than the actual game itself. Now in some regions you might know it as Pipe Dream, but it is the exact same game. Now this version is for the Atari ST, and you're just gonna love this box art. I mean, just look at this screaming man. I don't know if it's because he's failed the puzzle yet again, or if this dude is doing such a bad job. But you've got to see all these accolades. They continue round the back as well. And you'd think that would be enough, right? No. If we open this up, we find more text along the edges of the inside box. Now that is some way to go to try and sell a game. And since we've got the box open, let's see what we've got inside. We have the game on a single floppy disk. We have a manual that covers a number of languages, as we can see, but also just about every computing platform under the sun. Amiga, Atari, IBM, Commodore 64, Spectrum, Amstrad CPC. They really did want to cover every single platform and not make a new booklet for it. But thankfully the gameplay itself is exactly the same on every single machine, so they could do just that. Also in the box we get the copy protection, which is this classic black on red design. So let's see if we can pass this and actually get the game going. But before the copy protection, they had to show off a little bit with the logos. That is some pretty nice scaling effects going on. And as we can see, the game was made by the assembly line and published by Empire in 1988. Now you actually get 3 attempts to get the copy protection right. And normally I wouldn't really talk about this, but this one is actually quite interesting, because even if you get all 3 wrong, it'll still take you to the main menu and let you start the game. But very quickly you'll notice that something is off. That's right, it'll actually allow you to start the game before it complains at you that you got it wrong. So you have to reset your computer and try again. So let's do that now and actually get a real game going. If you've never played Pipe Mania or any of the clones or mini-games that have been based on it, here is a quick rundown. You have to use the supplied pipes to redirect the flues that will come out of that S block. You do get a bit of a head start with that quickly draining bar that you can see on the right hand side, and when it's gone, then the flues will start to flow, and it will start filling the pipes that you have laid. Thankfully, you only need to make the flues travel a certain distance for you to win that level, and we can see that number ticking down next to the letter D. As it was quite popular at the time, this is a score-based puzzle game, and you can gain points for every single pipe that the flues flows through. But you can also gain extra points if you manage to get it to crisscross itself using the cross pieces. There's also a number of other ways to gain some extra points as well, which includes hitting the F key. This will actually speed the flues up, and it will stop you from laying down more pipes, which you might think would be a bit of a disadvantage. But if you've already hit that distance goal, then if you speed up the flues, you actually get double points. I've never really been one for trying to go for high scores, but I do tend to do some of these fancier routes just because it's more fun. You don't always have to place a pipe in an empty square. You can actually place a pipe on top of another one, which will actually destroy the previous one that's there. It'll actually take a little bit longer to place it, which can be a bit of a disadvantage at times. And each time you blow up a piece, you'll actually lose some points. So you might just think, hey, I could just put the pipes I don't need in an empty square that I'm not going to use. But the game has already thought about that, as the game will penalise you if you actually complete the map by destroying those pieces anyway. As you go, the game will continue to throw new ideas and concepts at you, such as having gaps in the wall where you can actually have pipes that go up and across the screen. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but as the flues get closer and closer to the end of your pipe, the music will speed up, and it really does get quite intense as you go on. every so often the game will switch out its art style, and as you can see, not all of them are particularly good. I think this could work if they had picked some better colours, it's just not doing it any favours whatsoever. But this screen does help illustrate a few new concepts, like the reservoir, which is a static piece that will already be placed down in the map for you, but if you manage to pipe the floods through it, then you'll actually slow it down for a little bit, and can give you a bit of a breather to lay out the rest of your track. You can also see the fishes. These again are pre-placed by the game, and you cannot destroy them, so you have to work around them. The basics of the gameplay pretty much remain the same through the whole thing, though they do like to throw you a curveball later on, when you start getting these E-pieces. You have to make sure that your pipe ends with an E-piece if you're going to complete the map. It doesn't matter if you've gone the distance if you've not hit that E-piece. Now there are no lives in this game. If you fail a level, that's it, game over. Your only saving grace is the password system, but you'll only get a password every 4 levels. They really did make you work for it, though thankfully they did give you a bit of fun if you managed to do it. As you get to play the bonus round. In this mode, a piece will bounce back and forth across the top of the screen, and when you hit the fire button it will shoot down and lock where it lands. The rest of it will play pretty much the same with the floods slowly coming through the pipes, but it's just how you lay them that differs. And also how much points you get. There are a few modes to this game. We have Basic, which is what we've seen so far, there's Expert and Trainer. And again, because it was popular at the time, there's also a 2-player competitive mode. Now Training mode is pretty much the same as Basic, except now the flues will go even slower, and because of this it won't actually allow you to put your name into the high score table. But Expert mode is actually quite interesting, because as you can see we actually have 2 dispensers for the pipes, and you actually get to select which one you want to take a pipe from. You do this by holding down the fire button and pressing its direction. It might take a little bit to get your head around, but it is actually quite fun. And it really does spice up the gameplay quite nicely. This is one of those games that just had a simple idea and just ran with it, and covered so many different platforms. And when they were finished, well, that's when all the clones and copies and mini games came in. So it's a game that will continue to live on through the generations. And until next time, I've been the Goldfish, that's been a Pipe Dream Mania, and this was Goldfish on Games. Thank you for watching this budget game review, I do hope you enjoyed it. And if you've got memories of this game, good or bad, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And if you really enjoyed the video, then there's buttons below that you know what to do with. Or if you're not sure yet, then there's 2 other videos on screen that you can check out right now.